Hello, this is Meg at Chasing Retro. I'm here to do a flip through of the two Valentine's journals that I just finished this afternoon. This is something that I did not plan to make, but I'm so glad that I did because I had so much fun making them. The first one I will show you is a patchwork journal, and it is already reserved, and it is named So in Love. And the second one is a gingham, still a fabric covered, but a solid gingham covered journal, and it is still available, and it is called Heartstrings. The way I will work this is if it is a journal that you would like to purchase, you can email me at my email address below, chasingretro78@gmail.com, and let me know that you would like to purchase it, and I can reserve it under your name on Etsy. If I don't hear from anyone about reserving this one, I will list this one tomorrow night, Wednesday, January 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's start with the patchwork one first, which is named So in Love. And this one, I believe I measured it on the last video, but let's do it again, just for good measure. This is 6 1/4 by 3 7/8, and it has a 1.5 inch spine. It is made from a couscous box, and I love it. It's just the perfect little size. It is sewn together with wax thread, and then coming out of the bottom I have some beads in the different Valentine colors. It has a permanent sewn in tie closure with a glittery ribbon with hearts. This one has 14 pages in the first signature, 13 in the second, which means 27 pages or 54 leaflets, and a total of 108 back and fronts. Again, this one is named So, S-E-W, in Love. I've done a little embellishment here of some appliques that are on top of one another, and then this little adorable felt heart button that I got from Jen Share's Etsy shop. It was the perfect adornment for this top of the journal. All right, inside the front cover, I have on the first page a pocket with a cupcake wrapper rosette that I glued on as a little decoration, and then I have a beautiful, beautiful iridescent purple tag with some vintage hair yarn in a hot pink, and one of my crayon resist watercolor roses that can be used to journal on the back of, or you can use it to decorate a page. We have a belly band here with a puffy gold heart, and tucked into it we have this beautiful digital image. This is from the Graphics Fairy, beautiful bluish purple color, and then some vintage mailing labels. This is some of the German paper cutting patterned paper that you can buy. This is vintage from the 80s. A lot of the things in these journals are from the 80s and 90s. So here is a side pocket, and I just got some words out of Ideals magazine and glued them down. And then we have this little calling card that I got in Happy Mail a while back, and a little ticket. And here is a Victorian floral address book page, paper clipped to this purple graph paper, and I have eyelet here on the edge. I have a printing, sort of a note sheet from a vintage printer, and then a paint chip that I've put an iridescent sticker on and sewn around and backed it with paper for journaling. And attached to the eyelet with a bulb pin, I have one of these sugary heart beads. It looks just like a piece of candy. I have a page from a dictation book from the 1930s. This is vintage Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse stationery. You can sort of see that they have yellow hearts on it, and Mickey's on the other side. We'll see him in a moment. Here's just a little heart cut out of decorative paper, some punched edge pink paper here, paper clipped here. We have a antique Victorian, I'm not sure what these are called. The name just escaped my brain. Just a Victorian reliefed embossed paper, die cut. I think they're German. This is from a vintage greeting card that I used in the book as a page, but I had some extra on the back. And this is construction paper from the 70s or 80s. This was a greeting card that was given to a mom from her daughter on Valentine's Day. And it's that beautiful pink that's been faded and has that foxing on it. I just love it. And then I sewed a heart to it. This is from a vintage Better Homes and Gardens magazine, I believe, from the 70s. This is from an Ideals page. It's a little girl giving her mom a handmade Valentine. I have a little side pocket here with some faux stitching. And then here is a tag made with, I've never made a fabric tag with stretch knit, but this stretch knit had the Valentine's colors that I wanted to use. And then I put a brad in a little paper flower and embellished the top. And I have some Monopoly money. And here's that little sponge painted greeting card that I used the back of to make that other piece of ephemera. Here is a velvet page tab and a song from a book of love songs. Song sheet, I should say. This is Hallmark gift wrap from the 1980s. And I just used some little punched hearts to create a decorative strip here. This is from a vintage Better Homes and Gardens children's cookbook. Some white mini legal pad paper. Here is a vintage Valentine from Current Cards. I punched a heart in that sheet. I have several packs of American Greetings stickers for Valentine's Day that are from the 1980s, and this is one of them. This is some really cool variegated pom-pom trim that has like a red and a hot pink. It sort of turns into the color as it goes along, and I chose the red and pink out of the rainbow strand that I had. This is some red glittery ribbon to embellish that page, and the other half of that relief painted sponge card on construction paper. This is a pink sentence strip, and I've embellished it with a digital from the Graphics Fairy of a vintage Valentine. And this is just a little snippet of vintage gift wrap. This is a laminated sheet of hearts that came from a teacher's estate sale. I received this in Happy Mail, and I believe I got this from Birdie, and it's just so cool. It just reminds me of, things that my teachers would do to make Valentine's Day special. And here is the other half of that stationery with Mickey and Minnie. Unfortunately, it does not have a date on it, but the packaging that it came in looked very 80s. Here is a vintage love stamp. You guys might remember this one if you were a child back then or an adult. And this is one of the die cuts that I got at Michael's last week. And I just backed it onto cardstock for journaling, and then a soft drink label. In both journals, I have a shaker page, and there's seed beads to help more movement with the confetti, but there's some confetti and glitter in here with hearts and red hexagons. Here's a double pocket, and I've layered some of the Swiss dot chiffon material in a heart and some vintage crochet. And then this is a dry cleaning ticket, and this is just a little label that you can use somewhere in the journal, or it could be a journaling card. This is another Graphics Fairy vintage Valentine printable, And this is some vintage 80s gift wrap that I've made into a tag and put vintage rickrack, the baby rickrack at the top. Here's a corner pocket with some vintage chenille rickrack and a Precious Moments Valentine. There is no date on here, but probably 90s, I'm guessing. This is from a children's poetry book from the 60s, actually, but I made it into a tuck spot, and I received this in Happy Meal months and months ago. It's just a cute little journaling sheet with lines already there for you. Here's just a little flip pad with lots of different Valentine themed and colored papers, a red heart doily, a notepad sheet. I thrifted that. Here's some more of those glittery hearts. I sewed those to the edge of that page. This is a faux wax seal. It's clear with gold embossing, and it has a little teddy bear with a Valentine. This is from a very old book of maps, and all the maps are pink, so I used some pages in here. Pink lined paper. I cut this out of that Hallmark gift wrap. Here's a Hello Kitty sticker, and then another one of those die cut stickers backed onto cardstock. This is definitely from the 80s. I thrifted this pack of hearts a while back. I don't know what they're supposed to be. I'm assuming some sort of label because they have a hole you can punch out. And then these are just some little business cards that I put a vintage Barbie or Mattel sticker on. Here's a While You Were Out slip. And I sewed a pink ticket to the edge of that page. I've received this in Happy Meal too. I love this paper. It's so adorable. And then some red lace, and I put a little tassel here with some seed beads. This is a page from Scene 2, Act 2 of Romeo and Juliet. And this is some of that paper called Carol's Garden, I think. If I'm not mistaken, it's embossed. And when I think of pansies, I think about January and February, so I wanted to put that in here. Here is a vintage playing card with some roses and a journaling card. There's some pink rickrack, vellum. Here's a journaling card. I think this is a Project Life card because it has a back on it. Another little sack, and this has more of the Mattel stickers. And tucked into here, we just have a little heart printed journaling card and another snippet from Vintage Stationery. Gift wrap. And here is another vintage love stamp from the Postal Service. This is some sweater printed cardstock. I love that. And this is an image of a chocolate heart that I cut out of a Better Homes and Gardens magazine from the 70s, and then I used my scallop scissors to do a little border. And then in here we have a vintage 1990 Berenstain Bears Valentine and a little journaling card, and this one does have a pattern back on it. And a heart-shaped paperclip holding on the next page. This is just a little rose that I cut out of some decorative paper and glued it down. This is from a magazine from the 60s. I love the colors, the black and white, and then the pops of pink. I put it on hot pink cardstock, and this is just a little journaling paper with some lavender roses. Here is a sideways envelope pocket. I glued a heart on it, and tucked inside here we have some beautiful marble purple paper for journaling. And then tucked into here we have a vintage strawberry shortcake Valentine, 2002, so a little bit later, but still strawberry shortcake. And one more sticker on the back from American Greetings. Okay, so this one is reserved and it was named So in Love. The next one is still available as of the time I'm filming this, and it is named Heartstrings. This is a raspberry pink gingham, cotton gingham, and again, couscous box, so the measurements are the same, and then I have a doily underneath. This is the digital from Graphics Fairy that I Mod Podged for protection, and then I put it on red cardstock, and then I used gold gilding and went around the edge with the paintbrush. And this is a little button from Jen Shares, again on Etsy, and then more little beads. And this one is a solid satin ribbon with pink and red, red ribbon with pink and white hearts. And this first pocket is this is some tissue paper that I put down onto cardstock and then created a pocket out of it. Another one of those cupcake liner rosettes, one of my hand-painted roses, and some 80s gift wrap made into a tag. Oh, I didn't tell the page numbers for this one. This one has 14 pages in each signature, so one page more than the other one. So that's 56 leaflets or 112 back and fronts. The same belly band is in the other journal with that same lavender heart and some to from labels. Dictation page or a shorthand page. Here is the soft drink label here, and that construction paper that I mentioned in the first video made into a little journaling card. Eyelet, punched edge paper, and then this adorable cardstock. Here is an ideals page, and this has a bulb pen with one of those sugary hearts. Legal paper, vintage Better Homes and Gardens cookbook. Here is another one of those stamped or sponge painted hearts, rather, that the child made for her mother. And here is a Hello Kitty sticker and a little journaling card and a coupon inside there. Vellum. Scene 2, Act 2 of Romeo and Juliet. Phone message while you were out. Here's the Mickey stationery. Here's another love stamp. Probably 1990s based on the price. And the Savoring God's Love note sheet and one of these 80s heart-shaped tags. Here's another current vintage Valentine. This one has a elephant. Some gingham ribbon that matches the gingham on the cover actually really well. Here's Mickey and Minnie. Let's see. Clipped here we have one of those Victorian cutouts and strawberry shortcake Valentine. Those look so good. This is from Ideals, and some purple pom-pom trim. I love that. I was able to save part of that picture. Here's a side pocket that I just stitched some hearts on with a little sentiment. And then here we have some Cartoon Network stickers, definitely 90s, and a little calling card with a Mattel sticker. Here's a little corner pocket with rickrack, and then we have a journaling card and vintage gift wrap and a digital Valentine from the Graphics Fairy. Here's a little pocket with some beaded iridescent trim, and tucked in here we have a dry cleaning ticket and that iridescent lavender glitter in a tag form, and the hot pink vintage hair tie. This is another one of those Valentines that I found advertised in a magazine from the 70s or maybe 60s, and I put it onto some cardstock and cut around it. We have a little tiny label here in Monopoly money and another journaling card. Here's the vintage gift wrap from Hallmark with a ticket. Pink map. Here is the striped fabric tag with the daisy on the top with the brad and the little journaling paper with the lavender roses. Here's that German cutting paper. And on the back, stitched hearts that I punched out. Another Mattel sticker and an American greeting sticker. Here we have one of those die cuts made into a journaling card and some marbleized paper. Here is another piece of that counting laminated sheet from the teacher and a paint chip with an iridescent sticker. Here's some stitched down glittered hearts, a notepad sheet, the Victorian address book page, red doily, red velvet tab on this song. I think this is called Only You. I don't remember what the other book had. And this is some vintage, I believe Birdie sent this to me as well. This is some vintage sort of nylon type wrapping paper ribbon, I believe. I just glued it down, but I love the hot pink. And then here is a journaling card made out of a die cut with a cake and a sentence strip with a little cupid. Some red glitter trim on the edge of that page. Some more of that embossed stationery. Some vintage Chanel rickrack and the printer's ad. And a strip of vintage gift wrap. Here is a notepad with some Valentine's themed papers. Another piece of scrapbook paper that I fussy cut roses out of. A Project Life card. This is from a vintage recipe for a coconut cake for Valentine's Day, and I backed it with red cardstock. Another teddy bear sticker. This is the same gauzy fabric, and I stitched it into a ruffle, and then I clipped a little tassel to it. Here is one of those faux wax seals and another love stamp. Little pink calling card. A fussy cut heart from the gift wrap. Here's the shaker page for this book. This one has some iridescent sort of sprinkles shaped pink glitter and some pink and white hearts, or pink and silver, I can't tell, and some dark pink seed beads. This is a fussy cut from Ideals. It's a mailbox stuffed full of Valentines. And the last page has a handmade envelope out of the marbleized paper, and inside is a little sticker. I left this as a sticker so you can place it where you'd like. And then tucked in here, this is from a vintage magazine. I turned it into a journaling card, a vintage playing card, and a vintage Precious Moments Valentine. And that is it. That is Heartstrings. Thank you so much for watching today. Again, if you would like to reserve this one, just let me know. Email me. Otherwise, it will go into my shop tomorrow night, Wednesday night, January 29th at 8 Eastern Time. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.